This is another one of my topics where your own viewpoint of where you might draw the line might be wildly different than mine, and that's okay. I'm just putting out my own personal 2 cents. I believe there should be grounds where pirating a video game shouldn't be seen as negatively as some people believe, and emulation should always be seen as okay. Let's talk about it, shall we? Pirating. I can't think of a bigger elephant in the room for all sides of video games. Some will say you should never do it, it's like stealing money from the people who worked in the game. Others will say not really theft, since something isn't being taken, just copied. And others still will bring up proofs that pirating isn't as big of an issue as the market will make people believe. And like all things, your own personal line in the sand will be different than the person next to you. I've already stated it in the opening, but personally, I think there should be room for pirating in certain regards, and I want to tackle each and every side of the subject. Now, if you have money, the game isn't doing anything wrong from the dev or publisher side, and you just pirate for the sake of saving money, go fuck yourself. People like you are why developers take the Epic Game Store deal. People like you are why publishers think they have to put these DRM practices. People like you are the exact kind of people that are talked about when pirates are thought of. This isn't even a case of defending a corporation. You are actively hurting the industry, and even worse, I'm willing to bet that you'd be the kind of person to pirate a game, love it, and be pissed when it never got a sequel because of low sales. Money makes this industry go round, and while your one pirated copy might not mean anything, if everyone had that mindset, video games wouldn't be made. So I reiterate, fuck off. Okay, now let me contradict myself by talking about people who should pirate, like that makes any sense. For people out there in lower income places or are honestly just broke like a large amount of college students, pirate. Video gaming is an expensive hobby, honestly. Between buying a console or rig, buying the game itself, paying for any microtransactions or sub fees, gaming is quite the hefty toll for even entry. And there are a lot of people in the world who simply don't have the financial opportunity to just drop several hundred on a console, then another $60 to $70 minimum every couple of weeks for the newest game. If you personally can, good for you. I'm glad. But have a bit of empathy for the people who aren't as fiscally secure. Should they be barred from a medium of entertainment just because they don't actively have a life that can facilitate it? No, of course not. Not all of us out here just have wealth. I paid my own way through college. I didn't have money to spare then, and I would have missed out on so much without pirating games. That said, when I got into a better financial position, I flipped and began buying extra copies of games to make up for it. I don't know about you, but I bought Metal Gear Revengeance around 4 times, Skyrim around 5, and Shovel Knight around 6. Support the devs if you can and when you can. Now for the people who live in countries with idiotic and draconian laws and practices, pirate. I don't know if this is how it still is, but I remember back when Dragon Age Inquisition released, the game was banned in India due to homosexual relationships you could have in it. Ah yes, because when your country has so many problems, gotta hide away the gay thoughts. And this isn't even a slant at India in particular. I just find it personally so stupid the amount of times video games get the blame for things with all the issues the country has going on, America included. But getting off topic. There really isn't a ground for not pirating either. What are these companies gonna say? Sorry, but if you want to support the game, you should simply move entire countries to be able to play it. Like that is even slightly realistic. No, fly your black flag and enjoy your game. Again, I want to reiterate that this isn't just a blank statement to pirate any and everything. Money makes this industry go round. Devs need to eat, and the only thing that gets games their sequels is sales. And if everyone had the mindset of, oh, I'm just gonna pirate because who cares, the industry would falter and games would stop being made. Support game development when they deserve it. Equally in turn, do not allow subpar products to be made and just throw money at these corporations that would just as soon throw away said IP if it would make them money, or if it stops making them money altogether. Now let's move on to the emulation topic. The term emulation will flux from person to person, but my own personal definition is twofold. Of emulating games that are so far out of print that you can only get them through third-party sources, and after buying a game, playing it on different hardware, i.e. using the PC Switch emulator to play games because the system, while good for what it is still rather computationally weak. Now I can already hear some of the arguments, but what about the games coming out on the virtual consoles like the Nintendo 64 games? You mean the ones with a meager amount of games that are laggy, new bugs that have been fixed and figured out by random people in their basements when it comes to emulation and I had to pay a constant fee for? You want me to pay for a literal worse experience? If the paid option is on par or better than the free one, of course you should buy it. But I shouldn't have to give you money for a system that has been solved since the early 2000s just because you're being lazy, cheap, and or greedy. Oh, and here's another reason to emulate. Here's the entire roster of Smash 4. Which one of these characters is different than all the others? Was your guess Lucas? If so, congrats. Out of all the Smash characters, this is the only one whose game has never come to America in a legal sense. That's right, Mother 3, the sequel to the critically acclaimed Earthbound, and one of my personal favorite Game Boy Advance games, can only be played in English through fan-translated emulation. And Nintendo wants to have a hardline stance against emulating? Or how about this game, Trials of Mana, a classic Super Nintendo game, sequel to the beloved Secret of Mana, and one of the most replayable games of the day with all the pass and class combos you could have. First time you could play it in the States? 2020. 25 years after its initial release, and sure, we got a remake from the ground up with it, but really? 25 years for a translation? Why? We have people figuring out fan translations since the early 2000s. Why and how can you have both the stance of, we don't like emulation because it takes away from our profits, while also having a stance of, it isn't profitable enough to translate? Make up your minds. What's even worse is the amount of time publishers have lost pieces or the entirety of original source codes for their games, and it was us, the gamers, who preserved them. I'm not saying that the people who emulate these classics are doing so for the sake of preservation, but at the point where we are given no option to buy it, and the publishers care so little about maintaining it that you lose it, why do you care anymore? Oh, because you might re-release it in the future? Yeah, that always turns out great. How was that definitive GTA edition going? Oh, like that. How about the re-release of Blood Rain 1 and 2? Oh, you didn't know they re-released Blood Rain 1 and 2? Well, they did, and it runs worse than the originals. Oh, are you a new Mario fan and want to play the older 3D Mario games to get its full experience? That'll be $60, except oops, they took away the ability to buy it digitally, and now you can only get it physically from third-party sellers, and they didn't even include all the games. These bigwigs barely care about their own franchises. They don't even see the reason to give these classics the respect they deserve, so instead, they shit out something and expect us to be happy with it if they even release it anything at all. I don't know about you, but personally, I'm not a fan of licking boots and eating shit. More power to you if you are, I won't judge. But I'm once again not going to pay for a worse experience when there is a free option right there. Oh, and don't think I forgot about you, DRM. Looking at you, Denuvo. The cat's out of the bag, and they can deny it all they want, but we have the benchmarks. Denuvo makes games run worse. We have a side-by-side comparisons of games running on exactly identical hardware where the frames and thus overall performance has been lacking on the Denuvo versions of said games. It stops piracy though. There hasn't been an accurate showcase of that at all. If anything, articles like this prove otherwise. The only thing it stops is the overall experience of a player base who legitimately bought the product. Why should those who paid the price tag be punished? And even worse, why should they pay for options worse than free? It could be even worse though. Remember in the late 2000s, early 2010s when the internet was really taking off when it came to gaming? Remember the attempts at DRM that companies put in? Shall I regale you all of the tale of Spore? Again, we circle back to EA, who in a vain attempt to curtail piracy of their flagship title Spore, put in a DRM that forced you to always be online, where you drop your connection for even a second, you were booted, and you could only download it 3 times. You know what this caused? Spore being pirated more than normal, so much so that it went down in history as the most pirated game of all time. Self-fulfilling prophecy much? Piracy is always going to happen, and in certain regards, it has to. Whether it be game preservation, getting a complete and proper experience, getting to experience a title at all, it's just a thing this industry has to accept, and one where the only way to make it stop is by simply creating a better product and fostering a community of trust. Gabe Newell said it best. The easiest way to stop piracy is not by putting anti-piracy technology to work. It's by giving those people a service that's better than what they're receiving from the pirates. Piracy won't ever stop, nor should it. The greed that infests the video game industry will continue to permeate and force it to continue to be a thing. When gamers are no longer being punished for not pirating, that's when piracy will stop. Until then, I'll personally see you all on the high seas. Yo ho, fiddly dee. Yoish, it's been like, what, 5 months since my last major video? 6, 7 months or something like that? Well, here we go. Here's another one done. And as you can probably see, there's actually an upswing of general quality. That's because I actually got someone to do the editing. And I think I'm going to stick to doing that, where I'm going to do my own stuff on the side when it comes to just what I want to generally do, and then have like an actual editor edit it. So yeah, hope you like the increase in quality. So a couple of things to talk about just in the general video game, what's going on before I close off this video. First off, Steam. Steam Global is no longer, or Steam International, I guess, is no longer usable in China. Now they have just their Steam China version, which is really bad for the people there because the Steam China version only has like 103 games over like the 110,000 games the platform has, and it's not really hard why. It's a mess over there. It just fucking is. So it's like, oh man, there's too much free will and joy in this. Gotta ban it. Ugh, I feel so bad for the kids over there in China. Only allowed 3 hours of game time for a week. Actually fucking ridiculous, man. Poor goddamn children. But yeah, I'm not really surprised about this. Next. All the shit going on with the NFTs. God, I hate NFTs so fucking much. We have people trying to make etiquette NFTs. Like, that's fucking respectful at all. We have companies going like, oh wait, people really, really don't like NFTs. We don't need this negative press. So we have companies like Sega backing out from making NFTs. And then we have idiots like one Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park going like, wait, no, guys, NFTs are a good thing. Imagine if you could take your skins and stuff from one game, and because you have the ownership to it, you can place them in another game. First off, that's not how NFTs work, you dumbass. NFTs are, you don't own anything when you have an NFT. I don't think people realize this, but NFTs are literally nothing. People say, oh, well, I own this picture. No, you don't own the picture. NFTs are literally nothing. Basically, when you buy an NFT, you aren't buying the ownership of a picture. That picture is just showcasing that you bought a spot on the blockchain. But you have no ownership of the picture. If the copyright holder wants to take away that picture, or they just want to pull the rug out from under you and you get nothing, there's nothing you can do. Because NFTs are actually nothing. So that's why I hate NFTs. They're scams. Every single one of them is a goddamn scam. And the only reason people are so vocal about them is because the only reason that anyone's giving these things value is because people believe there's value. Oh, well, how's that different than cryptocurrency? Because you can actually buy things with cryptocurrency. You could buy, I've seen gas stations and stores in real life that say, yes, we accept Bitcoin here. We accept Ethereum. You can buy things with cryptocurrency. Even if it is technically not an actual thing, you can still give it value because you can buy and sell it. But you can't do that with NFTs. You have ownership of literally nothing. You have ownership of air. You don't own anything that comes with an NFT. At all. Stop buying them. They're fucking scams, you dumbasses. Yoish. Anyway, next we have the Oceanic players of FF14 are getting their own servers. Finally. Good for them. Good for them. I'm not sure when exactly it's being doled out, but it's been confirmed. Yes. Hey guys, you're getting your servers finally. Sorry it took us so long. Here's still hoping that Xbox will capitulate and allow proper crossplay so Xbox players can also play FF14. Next. Sony. Sony is like, hey guys, we know there's no PS5s right now, so maybe instead you should buy a PS4. And I get what they're saying. They're saying, hey, you just want to enjoy video games? Well, here you go. But like, no one wants to buy a PS4 anymore. Everyone has PS4s. So they're making a million more PS4s to try to help stifle the demand for PS5s. But it's like, no, people don't want to play the PS4. People want to play the PS5. And I understand that because of COVID, the shortages going around. But it's like, I don't tell people this. Don't tell people, hey, just buy this other thing. And it's like, no, we want this thing. But don't you guys just want a game? Yes, we want a game on the PS5, though. Next. Oh, the Cuphead show. The Cuphead show, we finally saw a trailer for it. You can just Google Cuphead show and see it. And it's looking pretty good. I'm not really sure how it's going to be episodic, per se. But overall, it does look really nice and incredibly well animated. And also, King Dice is voiced by Wayne Brady. And that just puts a massive smile on my face. I think that's so goddamn funny. That being said, fuck Cuphead, like the character, dragging his brother Mugman into all this nonsense. Because Mugman's like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to, can you not risk our souls? But what if we did, though? Jerk. And finally, Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard King. for around $70 billion. So again, I already talked about this, made a video about this earlier. I really hope that this is the step forward that'll get like general better practices for everyone at Activision Blizzard King. And even though Bobby Kotick is going to stay on, sadly, he's going to be under Phil Spencer of Microsoft. And I hope, again, they just put him into a small little corner and just say, don't do anything, don't say anything, don't touch anything, especially don't touch anyone. And just stay in the little corner, you're making millions, everyone's happy. So here's hoping that's things better for the future. Either way, I'm going to try to keep going with my normal schedule now that I'm back and I'm finished with my my little break after I make a major video. But for right now, I want everyone out there to have a good morning, evening, day, or night, wherever you're at. But for real this time, I'm out. Later.